All right, so we're going to teach place. And place is one of our fan favorites in that it gives the dog a place to go relax. Some people will call it calm on command. And the idea is the dog goes and stays on that spot. We can use it when the doorbell rings. We can use it while we're having dinner, while the family's watching a movie, children are eating on the coffee table, game night, all that kind of stuff. So the idea is the dog gets to be included in part of the family, but not underfoot. So the way we're going to start is you're going to heel you're going to heel Izzy across the mat. As her feet step on, you're going to say place. As you escort her off, you're going to say okay, which is our release cue. So let's do that 2 or 3 times. Okay, there we go.
Izzy, place. Okay.
Good.
Izzy.
You don't actually have to call her name. You can, but it doesn't matter if you do or not.
Place. Okay.
All right. This time when you put her on the place, I want you to leave her there. And we're going to introduce her a little better to the place board. And so when we introduce the dog to the place the first time, we're going to be a little enthusiastic about it. And we don't have to do this introduction piece again unless we're changing the mat in the next week or 2. And then after that, they generalize very well and we can use anything as a place. But for now, we're going to use the same object for the next couple of weeks until they really master what we're up to. So let's put her on the place.
Place.
Leave her there. We're going to go, Izzy, look at your place.
Look at your place.
Good girl, Izzy. Good place.
Good place.
All right. And we're going to say, good sit, baby girl. And we're going to say, okay, and take her off.
Okay.
Now let's put her straight back on, and this time leave her on there again. You don't have to do the enthusiastic piece. We could do that a couple of times if we want to, but now if she steps off, you're going to say no, place. The fact that she sat down is praiseworthy. Good girl. Now we did not cue her to sit. So the place command, they have the option to stand up, sit down, lay down, roll over, stretch. They can do anything as often as they want, as long as they stay on the mat and don't bark like a fool.
Okay.
So that's a whole nother thing if they get over adrenalized and start barking. But the fact that she chose to sit down is a good thing. If she steps off, we're simply going to say no, place, and put her back. So no is our marker for the error, and we'll put her back. So move around her a little bit. Sometimes when the human starts moving, the dog gets a little more mobile and breaks that command. So the only way dogs come off the place is we say okay to release, or we call them to come, in which we have the option to give them another command. So go ahead and release her.
Okay.
Good job.
Girl.
And we're going to put her right back on.
Place.
Good girl, Izzy.
Good girl.
Good. So what we do here is, excellent. Good girl. You can, sure.
Girl.
So what we do is we ask the humans, the handlers, to start adding a little mobility. You're going to do this work on leash for quite a while. And so your goal is to build up 10, 15 minutes with her on place, you at the end of the leash, make a phone call, watch a little TV, wait for the kitchen timer to go off, any of those kinds of things while she just masters staying on place. If she breaks the command, it's as simple as saying no, place, and putting her back.
Okay.
So you're going to do incremental times. They don't all have to be longer, right? So you can do a couple of minutes, a release, a couple of seconds, a release, and then try an extension. If the dog starts failing meaning they're stepping off over and over and over again with a lot of mistakes. We're probably adding too much movement, too much distance, or too much time too early in the equation. So go back, create some easy successes, create some wins, and show her how to be successful. Okay? Good girls. Oh, look how posing you are. Look at you pose. Look at you. It's a good girl. Say okay and take her off.
Okay. Good girl.
So go ahead and put her back on.
Place.
After they can do the 10 or 15 minutes.
Izzy, place.
Good girl. Good. After they can do the 10 or 15 minutes at the end of your leash, you're going to start dropping that leash. Right? And you're going to maybe go sit down in a favorite chair in the same room with her. Or just add a little more distance. You know, they'll know you've dropped the leash. Add a little more distance. And try to leave her sort of unattended, so to speak.
Okay.
And go ahead and drop the leash. I think you can do this with her. I think we're there. Go ahead and move around a little bit. Good. So when you start adding more distance and more time, you still want to be in line of sight. Your goal then becomes to have her on place while you're somewhere in the room for about 20 to 30 minutes. When you can do that successfully, you're going to go back to a 0 time interval and step out of sight. You're going to put her on place and step out of sight. So that might be walking towards the front door to answer the doorbell. Good girl, Precious. It might be walking into the kitchen to get a beverage. It might even start going to the powder room or anywhere, just out of sight while she learns to hold it on her own. So this is one of the skills we also teach dogs who have separation anxiety or isolation distress, so that they learn to have a little independence while the human is somewhere else in the house and not necessarily velcroed to the dog, right?
Right.
Go ahead and call her to come to you.
Okay. Good girl.
So when you first start teaching, go ahead and bring her back. When you first start teaching, you want to try to time the intervals where you release them before they break.
Okay.
Right? So they learn that they're waiting on that release. But again, if they do break the command, you're just going to say no, place, and put them back.
Okay. Should I put her back?
Yeah, let's bring her back. So in time, we can start pairing this with the doorbell. Doorbell rings, we take her to place. Every single time, right? There are apps you can download for your phone that make a doorbell sound.
No, place.
Good.
Good girl.
You could even record your own doorbell and just play it from your phone randomly. So every time she hears, that's a no, place.
No, place.
Every time she hears the doorbell sound, she gets in the habit of going to place.
Okay.
What we want eventually is to send her to place. And so the way you start doing that, and I'm going to have you take her off. So, okay. And I want you to stop short of the mat. And you're going to say place. So you're going to kind of aim your leash in your hand and point at the mat. And a little tension to guide her and let her take those steps up on the mat the rest of the way. So you're not going to go all the way with her like we did the first few times.
Okay.
You're going to stop short and let her step out onto the mat.
Izzy, place.
Keep coming. A little tension.
Place.
Now add your tension. There you go. And take her off.
Okay.
And this time stop a little shorter. So get some movement, right? Start walking around. Aim for the place and just stop short and send her the rest of the way.
Izzy, place.
Excellent.
Good girl. No, place.
Right. So again, over time, you're going to have more and more distance between the human and the mat, and sending her to take those last few steps onto the mat all by herself. So that at some point, a couple weeks down the road, you can say, Izzy, place, from anywhere, and she take herself to her mat.
Okay.
Right?
Yeah.
Fan favorite. Everybody loves it. People are wondering why I didn't do this before. If you're doing this with more than one dog, teach each of them one-on-one, right, so that they get it. And then when you get to the point of being able to have a lot more movement, start working them in pairs, right? Because one may cause the other to break, but if they've really started to master the skill, they'll hold themselves accountable a little bit better. So don't try to teach both simultaneously, right? Yeah. Teach one, put the other one away, bring out the other one, teach that one, and then once they've both mastered the skill, then start working them side by side together. Okay. Questions?
Now, place moves. So you start out with...
Great question. So I start teaching at home. It might be inside, it might be outside. I try to use the same object for the first couple of weeks. If I change the object early on, I do that whole, oh, look at the mat, that whole little introduction piece again, just to kind of create some new enthusiasm about it. Once we've done this for a couple weeks and they really get it, you can change the mat. You can have more than one mat. You could have one upstairs, one downstairs. You could take a mat with you to Starbucks and tell them place while you're having coffee. You could just generalize a square of concrete, right? If I told Vinny place here, he would just hang out. And they start to really understand it just means go chill out somewhere and don't move around a whole bunch. Okay. Yep, so place can move. I don't do a lot of movement or a lot of changing for the first couple of weeks. Okay? Okay. So big release, big praise for her.
Okay.
Yay!